So it looks like we are going live right now. Okay, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the J&J podcast, episode number 3. We got 997 to go until we are big time. Today we're going to be talking about current events. Let's see. Do you update anything?
I put one thing in Vivek, my boy Vivek, calling out the media.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Las Vegas. Sphere reports 98.4 million loss. The CFO quits. White House makes a commitment to combat.
I'd quit too.
What's that?
I said I'd quit too. Makes me feel better about my business.
You quit?
No, I mean I'd quit if I lost 98.
Oh, White House makes a
Actually, you
commitment.
know what? I wouldn't. I wouldn't quit as an entrepreneur. Like Elon Musk bought Twitter and he didn't quit.
Yeah, never give up. This is a place for those who don't give up. The J&J podcast. White House makes a commitment to combat Islamophobia. This was a little while ago, but I wanted to report on this. Bank of America, JP Morgan, having customers complaining they are not receiving deposits.
I have Bank of America. You don't have Bank of America, right?
But not.
I got a notification saying, "Hey, you might not receive deposits," like the whole thing, and I'm like, "Damn it!" So I have Chase Bank too. I have a bunch of banks.
That's crazy. Let's get into that. House Republicans agree to funding Israel if they can refund the IRS. That seems interesting. DeSantis bootgate, wearing lifts. Doesn't matter. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit.
And Nikki Haley.
And Nikki Haley. Let's do a little bit of that. MMA fighting. Dana White amazed that Francis Ngannou went 10 rounds with Tyson Fury. It's crazy. And Vivek calling out media for lying and calls out Republican leader. So looking at these stories, which one do you want to start off with first?
I don't know. The Dana White and Francis Ngannou seems like so long ago. And that's probably not top leading story, but I actually just shared you while we were both falling asleep on a Sunday night here, trying to stay awake. I was watching Patrick and David and Bradley's podcast, which I'm still not. Dude, he was on there for 2 hours.
I know.
But I sent your Instagram, dude. I didn't know Francis Ngannou got like in prison a bunch of times. Did you know his whole story? Did you see that?
So I don't know much about going to prison, but I do know he came from basically
Cambodia.
yeah, and he was doing absolutely not absolutely nothing, but he came from a very, very poor lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should just go to that really quick. I mean, this is Joe Rogan saying that he won. I didn't even see. It's funny. I only see Joe Rogan on. Do you watch Joe Rogan like religiously or no?
Most of the time when he drops the podcast, I make a point to check it out, at least start it, see if it catches my attention.
There's just so
Some
many
podcasts I don't even
I feel like I can't keep up. Elon's on Lex Friedman. Haven't watched that. Elon
say
Joe Rogan. Haven't finished that. I mean, Elon kind of makes his little round in tours, as he goes.
he definitely does. I noticed that as well. Okay, so you want to start off with an MMA recap, it sounds like.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, and I mean, I maybe that's not the best thing to start it off, but former boxer here, now speaker and talk show host. Feel like here, if I just show you, can I share my screen?
Sure, go for it.
So I just in here in messages, I just shared it with you. Is this I'm not oh shoot this
So what I would do is next
yeah,
time you share a screen.
just share the browser, right?
Correct.
Gotcha. I know.
Just so it's better for the audience and they're not distracted.
Gotcha. I see that. Actually I'm in the wrong. Gotta switch the account. Gotta log into
Let's go to another story while you're doing this.
all right, go ahead.
Real quick. Las Vegas Sphere reports 98.4 million.
Yeah,
loss.
why don't you put that one up?
So do you know anything about the Las Vegas Sphere?
Yeah, so when I was in Vegas, I think that would be just open because I was going to Vegas quite often.
Yes.
So there was like all announcements as this fair, it's gonna open, it's gonna open, it's gonna open. So like I guess it opened and didn't do too well.
Yeah, so
But it's new, right? Or am I wrong?
yeah, no, you are completely right. So
Because I would be in the back of Ubers or have my rental car and I'd be driving by. Yeah, and I'd be driving by right here. Yep.
So, for those who don't know, the Sphere is like this big, massive globe. It's a spherical venue, which was opened on September 29th and already made a huge loss and lost its CFO. The MSG Sphere reported losing $98.4 million for the financial quarter ending on September 30th, a day after the venue first opened in Las Vegas Strip. So have you seen any pictures of the Sphere?
Yeah, I saw it when I was driving by it. It's a big globe, but that's what it is. I mean, I didn't know like what's in it. Like I could see why it lost money. I had no clue. I remember seeing a sphere. I don't get what the whole big thing is like.
So basically, you got something that there's a projection that's right next to. I was just on this with Ash when I went to Vegas, the Ferris wheel, the Vegas Ferris wheel, and so this is basically inside it. Let's see, maybe we can go check out when U2 had a concert there. This is how. So this is how it looked.
Yes.
You hear that?
I do have.
That's what I figured.
Sorry.
Sensory overload is what I said before, because like there's so much to see, but also just sounds and just yeah.
So it's like a coliseum.
With that,
It's like a coliseum. You kind of sound muted, like you're underwater. Are you frozen? Yeah, you sound underwater. It sounds like you got swallowed up by the sphere. Drink the. Do you want me to share it on this side? I could practice sharing without the.
I don't know why I did that, but it doesn't do that. So anyway, it's basically what the Sphere looks like inside. It's huge. It looks like if you've ever gone to like a huge movie theater and you're sitting in this huge seats and you're looking down into the screen, except the screen is not down, it's all around. That's like completely around like this. Like literally, if you're sitting there to watch something on the left, you literally have to turn your head and look over to the left. It's huge. Dana White said that he doesn't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to put on a fight in the Sphere.
Really better because all that's there is postcards from Earth. No wonder I lose some money. Look at this every day. I mean, this event is selling fast enough. They're doing postcards for Earth, and then hey, the only thing I know here, oh, we got U2. Postcards from Earth. No wonder I was losing money.
I think it's just bad planning. I'm not sure what they could put into it. That is.
I'm just curious on how much a ticket is to go. You want to go to Vegas to see postcards from Earth? This event is popular. This is all marketing, by the way.
Yeah.
They did.
So go there. I would definitely go check it out. I don't know how many tickets. Okay, so this is a great way to look at it. So that's how big the screen is.
So we'll send in 201. It's not bad. $325.
It's not horrible, no.
400 in the best seats. So it's just all this, and then this is a screen here. It's not like an NFT thing, is it?
No.
Which that's like the future. I feel like they should have made it that way.
No, so this is just a venue where you see live shows, and apparently tickets are selling out. Well, not as fast as they could be selling out because the lost.
I mean, how will the F1 use Las Vegas Fair as U2 pause residency? Oh yeah, the F1's coming up in Vegas too. Kurt Walker, remember Kurt, the VC guy? You remember him, right? Oh yeah, you had lunch with him.
Yes.
We missed the plane.
Scroll down. Formula One for the race is obliged Irish rock band U2 to pause its residency at the recently opened venue for over 3 weeks. U2 has played a series of acclaimed concerts at the Sphere, which cost $2.3 billion to build. It features high-definition video screens across its inner and outer surfaces. However,
Oh, wait, 2.3 billion doesn't sound like anything. Like, dude, that's like Zelensky living room. You know what I mean? With what we're sending.
well, it is true.
88 billion to Ukraine, right?
Yeah. So
At least this is getting billed on America. We should have the government fund this, man. This is at least on a.
because the race, the band is taking a break, playing its final show, the initial run on November 4th, returning before returning December 1st for dates, which extend to February. From addition, it's revenue opportunity for us, at least, as I said, or sublease the time in the Sphere. In addition, we're going to have a recovery brunch, and you'll need to recover on Sunday morning in the Sphere, and we'll be showing highlights of the race internally. So I'm not sure where they're actually going to have it. Are they going to have it around? Yeah, it looks like they're going to have it around the Sphere.
Well, no, this is the whole strip. I forget. They said they're going to race on the strip. I think they laid it all down. So that's the win right over here.
Right.
But I love Vegas. Vegas is fun. We got to go back there again, you know?
I like Vegas as well. Last time I was there, it seemed very. It seemed like it was getting back to number one, but they're still cleaning things up.
Yeah, it kind of always feels like everything's under construction. I think Vegas is good. People are in and out of it all the time. Vegas is fine. The taxes are good. People are leaving California to go there. All right, what's the next?
Lost a 98.4 million loss. I wanted to go into why they lost the money, and
Las Vegas reports 98.4 million loss. The CFO quit as well. Said the source of thing. Put a pixel. Not the CFO thing. Well, it is.
Las Vegas has been on a roll recently. A few cities were hit as hard financially by the pandemic. Now the tables are open again. Gambling revenues are at new highs. Hotel occupancies are climbing. This is from last year, June 6th. So click on that 8 News Now article.
Dude, this is why we need a news network here.
When the company behind Sphere published its first fiscal quarter results, that's what I want to get into. Many social media jumped on an additional newest edition of Las Vegas Skyline. The truth, however, is not so cut and dry. 98.4 million loss. The CFO quit as well. Said a post from the Daily Loud. Scroll down. Despite the volume on social media, the truth about the 98.4 million loss is less damning than the buzz would indicate. Indeed, the venue's parent company, Sphere Entertainment Company, did report a nearly $100 million loss. Its fiscal 2024 first quarter results. It's important to note that the fiscal first quarter ended on September 30th. Sphere officially opened its doors for the first time on September 29th. One full day before the end of the period. This means the loss comes bundled with fiscal quarter of construction and opening costs, and only 2 performances of U2's.
Oh, you know what that means, right? Because being a business, if it costs 2.3 billion, it's a tax write-off if they say it's a loss, you know? So it actually makes more sense to market a loss right when it opens, because then
I'm wondering why the CFO quit. That's what I want to know. Additionally, director Darren Aronofsky's Sphere exclusive film Postcard from the Earth did not begin screenings until October 6th.
Probably because I got it. I solved it. Probably because they were fudging the numbers just like they did with Elron, with that guy Andy, and the person didn't feel right because they're probably fudging numbers to stay. Person's like, I'm out of here, you know?
I have no idea what you mean by Elron and Andy.
No, the guy Andy Faston, he was at PBD's event. The guy who was part of Enron.
Oh, Enron.
Yeah. So Enron, you remember he did he looked the other way. Well, this person probably didn't look the other way, knew that
scroll down a little bit more because there was something to that. Yeah, scroll down after the photo. That didn't stop social media from jumping in with the jokes. One ex-user posting a photo of the Sphere with a Spirit Halloween store sign superimposed over the giant bulb. Another user said, seeing if I can buy it once it hits foreclosure. That's a shocker. Such an obnoxious blob for the purpose of what, really? Scroll down, see if they've got anything to summarize.
So they call it X now. They don't call it Twitter anymore. Huh?
Yeah. So the Guantam Ranji Sphere Entertainment Company chief financial officer and treasurer did resign on October 30th, effective as of November 3rd. According to that filing, his departure from the company is not a result of any disagreement with the company's independent auditors or any member of management on any matter of accounting principles or practices, financial statement disclosure, or internal controls. Sphere continues to feature advertisements on its exosphere, the LED surface consisting of 1.2 million pucks, creating a 33-story visage of Sphere. The venue featured heavily on the red carpet event for Disney's The Marvels, the latest film, The Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guests gathered on the rooftop of the Westin Las Vegas Hotel and Spa in Las Vegas, posing in front of Sphere, which featured images of the Marvels character Goose. Multi-day takeover of Sphere is planned as the Las Vegas Grand Prix makes its inaugural run, the company said. So what it sounds like to me is, we can get off this, is what it sounds like to me is that they spent so much and then their quarter ended at the end of September, and the amount of revenue they brought in didn't quite get them into the black, and they're still in the red. The CFO quitting is, I'm not sure. I'm very curious. That's usually not a sign of good things. If the chief financial officer is just like, I'm out. It doesn't mean he was fired. It means he quit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
So what's
listen.
the reason of him quitting? Does he see things getting worse? Or was he too overwhelmed?
I don't know. I feel like that's almost a non-story a little bit.
No, that's a story, Jeff. Like the CFO quitting because they made a $98.4 million loss means he doesn't believe in the vision anymore. To me, that's important. Like if somebody's quitting because they got a loss, I get it. 100% you're overwhelmed. But what's the reasoning? For me,
For me, if I had to guess, I think they probably fudged some numbers in a business. They spent a couple billion to build something, and the CFO was like, "This is integrity. I'm not going to work for someone who's doing it the right way." That's what I mean, it's speculation, but
that is, I mean, that's also one reason. For me, I mean, I don't know why. Again, I'm going to be speculating. I think it's the CFO was overwhelmed. I think it was going to be a huge event that happened in Vegas, and I don't think it turned out the way they wanted, and it fizzled. And with the fizzle, he just didn't want to be around for maybe an eventual demise when he started looking at the numbers. And he's like, you know what? We just opened. We're not in the red. I mean, excuse me, we're not in the black. We're in the red. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. So I find that interesting because they say when you go to Vegas, you know how the economy's running. If Vegas is running well, then you know how the economy's running. So if things are starting to drop down in Vegas and businesses and CFOs are starting to quit, is it an indicator of things to come? So to me, that's why I find it very interesting, because if this guy's quitting and they're supposed to be releasing this into Vegas as like this huge thing and it's not already successful, is that an indicator of things to come? So let's move on to the next story. I want to talk about this. This is kind of an old story, but I really want to talk about this. But I want to
Francis,
to it.
which story?
So it's
By the way, last time we did an episode, Jaseni was coming here, and I'm working with a relationship coach so I can become a better leader, because that was very challenging.
yeah, we can definitely get into that. So
I'm just gonna try not to put my love life so public. I think, kind of do it like Gary Vee said.
I mean, that's up to you. So, statement from White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre on President Biden's establishment of first ever national strategy to counter Islamophobia. President Biden ran for office to restore the soul of our nation. He is unequivocal. There is no place for hate in America against anyone, period. Today, he and Vice President Harris announcing that their administration will develop the first ever U.S. national strategy to counter Islamophobia in the United States. We look forward to continuing our work with the community leaders, advocates, members of Congress, and more to develop a strategy, which will be a joint effort led by the Domestic Policy Council and National Security Council, and counter the scourge of Islamophobia and hate in all its forms. For too long, Muslims in America and those perceived to be Muslims, such as Arabs and Sikhs, have endured a disproportionate number of hate-fueled attacks and other discriminatory incidents. We all mourn the recent barbaric killing of Wadeh al-Fayoum, probably saying that wrong, a 6-year-old Palestinian American Muslim boy, and the brutal attack on his mother in their home outside Chicago. Today's announcement is the latest step as part of the President Biden's directive last year to establish an integrity group to increase and better coordinate U.S. government's efforts to counter Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, related forms of bias and discrimination within the United States. Moving forward, the President, Vice President, and our entire administration will continue working to ensure every American has the freedom to live their lives in safety without fear for how they pray, what they pray, and believe who they are. What are your initial thoughts on this?
I mean, here's the thing. I think right now with everything going on, I think they're just feeding hate on both sides. They're just trying to make something a little bit more upset. Listen, there's always been anti-Semitism. Hitler and everything like that proves that. And I do believe, when 9/11 happened and all that happened, there was definitely more people, bugging out and making jokes about stuff when people really weren't in that realm, right? So I believe they're both of them. I actually don't believe this is like the worst thing that they did. I understand like Hamas and everything is bad. There is, dude, trust me, the tensions are high. People are overreacting, and maybe not overreacting. It's weird because I'm sitting here and nothing's happening. But like I didn't remember Ukraine and Russia being like this. Like this is like different. Like this is definitely one. They're just fanning the flames here. And yeah, I mean, listen, there's definitely people I like it's just, dude, it's a very, what's the word? In simple, like, at the end of the day, like everything that happened, and here's the thing, like Grant's putting out that, oh, do we really believe what happened is all AI? Are they not even, are you like right now it's like, what do you even believe? Like they could feed everything, And I've never heard so many people. I mean, we're getting the whole Israel. If we just want to talk about Islamophobia, I mean,
This is how I unpack it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are both Christians. If someone doesn't believe in Christianity, do we kill that person or do we pray for them?
Yeah, but no, I don't think anybody, like I don't think most Muslim people, because they don't believe in it. I feel like that's the leading question, kill people because they don't believe in Muslim.
So do you?
As a Christian, no.
No. As a Jewish person, if they don't believe in the Jewish beliefs, do they kill that person? Or are they trying to convert?
No, but there have been cases in Christians where like they bomb abortion clinics. There's been radical Christians like that, right?
All right. So is it a belief of the Christianity to do that?
No.
Okay. Is it a belief of the Jewish religion to do that?
No.
Okay. So with the Muslim religion, there is a belief that if you are, and we should get this because I don't want to I don't want to step on any, I don't listen, I want to call this out for what it is, but I also don't want to get things wrong. So
yeah, I remember watching Patrick and David talked about it when he had the 2 Christians, 2 Muslims. Like, you should kill me if I don't believe what I believe. They believe actually if you're a Muslim or if you're a Christian and you convert to Muslim and you go back to being a Christian, then in the Patrick and David interview on that, right? Then you should be killed. Remember that? Did you watch any of that one?
Right. So apostasy is defined as turning away from Islam, severing the ties with Islam. By the Murtad or apostate is understood that the Muslim by birth or by conversion who renounces religion, respective, or whether or not he subsequently embraces another faith. And apostasy is blasphemy is punishable by death. Among non-Muslim majority countries, the harshest blasphemy laws are in Italy, where the maximum penalty is 2 years in prison. So yeah, crimes that are considered to be against the rights of gods, which have fixed punishments according to Islamic law, apostasy is punishable by death. Unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're a Muslim, you have the stereotype that you'll bomb people, you'll kill people, and you'll do things for the name of Allah. And not saying all of them are like this, but that is a belief. That is something that they do. So my initial reaction to when I see that they're going to protect Islamophobia is I don't see too many people, and I understand there was an instance where somebody went after a Pakistani boy, which is wrong, but I don't see too many instances where people are attacking Muslims or Islams. Now, the reason why I say this is because I see it more, and maybe I'm completely blind by this. Maybe I'm seeing wrong. When people attack Christians, people attack Jews, and I think it's because Muslims and Islam have the belief that, hey, man, if you come against us, we're going to come against you a million times harder, which is not a bad belief to have. I just find it interesting that the White House chose to protect them, which I will say this. Under free speech in America, Muslims can say whatever they want, Christians can say whatever they want, Jews can say whatever they want. I have no problem with that. I have no issue with that. It's now we're making an exception for Islamophobia. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I'm saying that what's the reason of us going after Islamophobia? Like, what is the reasoning when I see
it's to cause more divide. It's to get more people upset on what they're doing. When everything happened, when Hamas is straight out evil, and whatever's happening with on the other side, maybe Israel's using a chance for this to kill people, unjustly again, and innocent people, and they're using shields. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really watch. It's so convoluted just to react to everything. And I mean, it's really a mess over there. But it's a mess in Ukraine. There's probably other places there's Chicago. This is the same thing I was saying. Like there was that murder was in Chicago. There's probably so many other murders in Chicago that we're not talking about. Okay. But if you want to talk about something, I'm very passionate about the fact that, and I've always been passionate about this, the fact that, we have redlining and we have more people. We have a ghetto and we have a non-ghetto. Like it's literally like they're different countries. Like you go to Liberty City, Miami, it's totally different. Why? We're in the same country. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even want to waste this time. No offense. Yes, this is a horrible tragedy. We could be in World War II, but it's kind of going to America first to focus on what we have right here on our own soil than worrying about anything else in that. And then because the narrative here, now what we're doing by actually putting these policies is we're making it clear of when there's all these protests in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you saw the numbers of that. Are people doing this? It's almost like the White House they're just trying to feed more divides. That's all I see what's going on. I think even with the young students that don't know any better and the people that are standing for Hamas, right? You see the videos, right? These young people are doing that. They just don't know any better. They're not educated. Vivek's not wrong when he says the same citizen thing that every foreigner has to come and do, every single American should do is to have some American pride. We don't have the American pride in the country at all. It's losing, especially when you see some of this stuff and people are just reacting to something that the news is feeding them. It's really, and that this is just a whole nother. I think they just put that out. Listen, is that point? But I think it was put out more for divide. Every time I look at anything that's done, I can see there's a big anti-Israel protesters. Oh yeah, I saw this. You saw this?
Did see this, yeah. So pro-Palestinian demonstrators attempted to force their way into New York's Grand Central Terminal on Friday night, smashing several windows and scuffling with police as part of a protest that also saw American flags torn down and an Israeli flag burned. Demonstrators marched in a rally in support of Palestinians in New York City on November 7th. In separate rally on Friday, protesters tried to break into Grand Central Station, scuffled with police. So,
like the Cunningham and Josh, I don't know what they're trying to get into.
Grand Central Station. Another clip close by Vago, a young woman whom he identifies as an Israel supporter, is seen crying while a masked man shouts, "Cry, bitch, cry" at her. During a separate incident, a protester, this is
Feels like Gotham City. You know? The more I see this stuff.
cops are watching it. A demonstration also made its way past headquarters of the New York Times, which is covered with red paint. Clash between police and pro-Palestine protesters seen thrown on the ground and clashed with police, scared away unconscious. So obviously, what we got, Grand Central Terminal was closed for several hours due to the disturbance, with reopening at 11:50. To the groups backing the demonstration were Within Our Lifetime and City University of New York for Palestine, which produced a joint graphic that was posted on Instagram urging their supporters to flood Manhattan for Gaza. The group said, "Gaza calls, we respond. Palestine will be free because when we resist, we win together. Cease fire, but don't let us stop there. Cease genocide, cease the siege, cease the blockade, cease occupation, cease funding Israel, cease settler colonization, cease Zionism, cease imperialism. If you want to liberate Palestine with dignity and freedom for all people, we must be fighting for much."
I mean, but I will say this. I don't know why we're funding Israel too. I don't know why we fund Ukraine. I don't know why we're funding Israel. And I'll say it again too, like all this stuff is, we're watching stuff on a thing and we're creating a meeting to it, and they're feeding the flams of the government, and people are reacting, and they don't have any American pride. No matter if you're on American soil, it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what you believe. There's a certain pride for this country, just like that. That's what America is. You know, we became the United States of America because we came from all immigrants from somebody else. When you come in here at any point and you tear down the flag and stuff like that, it's because people have lost pride in America. That's exactly what's going on. They don't know what the citizenship is. They don't know what we stand for American values. And it's people acting in their own interest. And literally, America's not doing a great job on all these foreign wars. We're just funding, like, I don't know if it's about oil or what. There was actually a guy, they just interviewed him, I saw him, and he talked about this. It was a congressman, and he said, "Oh, it's going to be really bad if they're planning on invading all the Arab states, America is. They're planning to fund it." I don't know if you saw this. It's one of the senators, okay? And they went and interviewed him, and he didn't want to comment on it or anything, but he was predicting what's happening now. Like it's all predicted, right? Like even like the whole them letting down the Iron Dome and killing everybody. So there's an excuse for this. And Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been there forever, like, listen, you just can't look at everything for face value. You got to look at it a lot more and say, hey, there's something else bigger going on. There's the great book, Changing the World Order, is happening, and they're trying to make a civil war. That's exactly what's going on.
So how do we fix this? Because what it seems like right now is we have a group of people who very strongly believe that their beliefs are correct. Whether you've got the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas side, and you've got the pro-Israel side, they're both dug in their heels. This has been going on for years, right? These conflicts. Now it's finding our way over to America. Now, I don't know if it's social media that has exacerbated this, but it seems to me that now it is more present in our country, the conflict or discussion of the conflict, than it's ever has been. Israel and Palestine have been fighting back and forth fact, Israel always had like this kind of like belief or saying, and I don't know, I'm not trying to say anything not factual, but basically every few years they mow the lawn of Palestine, meaning like they just get rid of the terrorists by going over and having whatever, like they attack and they just kind of try and make sure that the Hamas terrorists, Hezbollah, whatever that would be looking to attack them knows that, hey, listen, they're going to come to eradicate us, which in turn probably creates more Hamas soldiers and creates more Hezbollah soldiers just because of the violence that's gone against them. It's almost like a catch-22 because from what I see, what's happening is Hamas is a recognized terrorist group. They attacked Israel. It's odd that Israel didn't see this coming, but Israel didn't see it coming. So you could have said
Maybe they didn't see it coming to get some money from us to get funding. Like that's really what it looks like.
I don't know. I don't have any facts regarding that. I haven't seen
It
any.
does look that way. So for America to send money to Ukraine, for America to send money to Israel, okay, and these wars to start happening out of nowhere. When Trump was here, there was no wars. Now Biden's in here, and there's all this corrupt politics where it is too. There's corruption on the Republican Party, there is too. But yeah, I mean, it's very clear to me that we're funding other countries when there's wars. And this has been going on years and years and again. And we always put our money not in America first, not doing anything to protect it. We've let all these people in, like Biden basically did a whole, hey, come to my border, it's open, because they're trying to probably get people in to vote for them and get them licensed so that way they can rig the election again, you know?
Well, let's stay on this because I don't disagree with you, but let's stay on this. So we have right now that's going on in America, and if you check your feed on X, if you check your social media feed, right now we've gone away from the Ukraine war, but we've gone to the Palestinian-Israel conflict, and it seems to me there's more a anti-Israel divide that I've seen in quite a while. I'm not saying that Israel is not at fault. It seems like to me that they are just continuously being relentless towards their pursuit of Hamas and Hamas soldiers. And because of that, there are going to be casualties. And it almost seems as if they're just the Israeli army and Benjamin Netanyahu are just like, we don't care. To me, there's two parts of how I unpack this. I actually admire how Israel is being relentless on their force to say, you attack us, never again. Having said that, it almost seems to be the point of where it is getting to the point where it's excessive. I think there's 11,000 people or almost 10,000 Palestinians that have died as Israel goes to attack them. And then it started off with, I think it was 1,100 or 1,500 Israelis that have died. So basically, they 10 times the number of Israelis that have died going after Hamas. And now we're seeing a lot of rhetoric, propaganda, I don't know if you've seen this, people calling out. I don't know if you've seen Andrew Tate or Tristan's take on this. I don't know if you've seen some take between like Jake Shields. Very almost hateful things. I'm not saying that I think Andrew and Tristan Tate actually handled it well, but hateful, very hateful. People are now being called Zionists if you support Israel. And now I'm not saying that the case is like, hey, we should be sending money to Israel. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's odd to me how this is being packaged, because if Israel was really attacked, factually, if Israel was really attacked by a terrorist group and Israel decides to defend itself, how come Israel is getting attacked by other people? Because there was a terrorist attack and now they're defending itself. So let's paint it even simpler. You're at a bar. You see this kid, he's by himself. He is drinking a beer. And three guys come up to him and they start pushing him around. And they start punching him. And they start beating him. And they kill him. And he dies in the bar. And as that happens, 5 other guys rush from the other side of the bar and start to defend the guy that died. and they start defending them. It's a conflict. It's crazy, but you've got somebody who started off something, they killed somebody, and now these other people are trying to defend this other guy that happened. Who's right? Who's wrong? It's a mess. I think somebody sticking up for a person who died or people who died, that it was not their fault. They're innocent bystanders. I think there's some justification to that. And I see that happening on both sides, because Israel stood up for their people that died, and now Palestinians are standing up for people that they believe is too in excess of them dying, right? Israel is the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, is just mowing down everything and everyone, if you've seen the pictures. So I don't know how we fix this, because I see everybody is emotional regarding this and they're not logical. And I'm not saying that we should just be logical and not have our emotions as this, but I see it getting bad, and I see it getting bad to a point where I think it's going to get worse. But I don't know. That's my take away from this.
Yeah, I'm trying not to interrupt as I normally do, because the thing, I'm getting much better at it. However, listen, I just think it's all made it, like, I think all the wars are fabricated. I don't think they really need to be done. I think Ukraine and Russia is a fabricated war so America could fund something and put money a different way. And I think it's the same thing here. And so I'm proven differently. We've done it, even weapons of mass destruction. We have a history of doing this all the time. It just doesn't feel right. Something feels up, and it feels like it's all being marketed, okay, just to bring divide. And there's a great meme where they show the hands. Did you see it? And they show all the they show China and everything. It's like George Soros' hands over everything, mixing everything up is the point of it. And then there's also Tony Delgado put out a thing. He said, if you support Ukraine, I just looked at the Ukraine war. It's still going on. It's day 628. Support Ukraine, you're supposed to be Democrat. If you support Israel, you're supposed to be Republican. He's like, I choose to do neither because I'm not a sheep, right? And the point of it is, like, listen, he's just nobody war. Elon Musk was on with Lex Friedman. And Elon Musk was just like, yeah, I'm not really for war, right? I don't think anybody's for war, you know?
Well, this is what I think. I think there are wars is a business. And when you go into a war, people make money. So companies make money, ammunition companies make money, countries make money. And I think it's a way to make a lot of people money, wars. But this is what I know. Just taking a step back, when weak leaders are present, chaos will ensue. And we are very, very aware that right now that there is a weak leader in America. However, say what you want about Benjamin Netanyahu. Say what you want about Putin. These guys are not weak leaders. These guys are very strong in their beliefs, and they'll come after you if you come after them. So that has me tend to think that there might be some financial gain behind this as well. I don't know. I don't know how we stop it. I don't know how we stop to being the point of we're just a war nation. We're always at war. We're always saying
with this. How we stop it? We stop funding it.
So how do we stop funding it?
You just don't write money to foreign stuff that's not when people are dying in the streets of Chicago and Hartford, Connecticut, and Liberty City, and we're sending money to another country, okay, which is still a tragedy that's all happening, okay? It's not, and we're becoming the police of other countries, all right, and we're not putting America first in this realm when there's stuff to really focus on here. It's kind of like saying, like, to kind of go back to your analogy, it's almost like saying, like, okay, your house is falling apart, right? Your house is falling apart, but instead of taking care of our house, we're going to go take out a loan and we're going to go repair a house way outside our whole thing where people are fighting and it's stupid. It's really just, it doesn't make sense. I don't see how anybody makes sense out of it. And yet we have all these politicians like Nikki Haley or all these people.
They're so focused on wanting to send money to another place.
Right. Like it's like their duty to do this stuff. And it's like, I feel like we have a lot of corrupt politicians, and I believe they're greasing their pockets with it. And I feel like that's how they make money. Vivek, actually, I don't know how much you watch of Vivek, and they're saying he lost the whole election.
Yeah, I want to get into that. This kind of ties into what we're talking about. Top House Republicans defend IRS cuts and GOP-led Israel aid bill. So we're talking about sending money. Democrats have called the bill dead on arrival in the Senate, and President Joe Biden has vowed to veto it. So House Speaker Mike Johnson on Sunday defended the cuts to IRS funding in a bill passed by the GOP-led House that would provide about $14 billion in aid to Israel amid its war with Hamas. So we're going to send now $14 billion. However,
that's fair for 2.8 billion. It's not looking too bad,
yeah, right. The House last week voted 226 to 196, mostly along party lines, to pass the Israel aid bill, championed by Johnson, the speaker, with a dozen Democrats voting with Republicans for the measure and 2 Republicans opposing it. But Democrats have made clear that the bill, which would slim IRS funding that was approved in Joe Biden's sweeping 2022 health, climate, and tax law, has no chance of survival in the Senate, and Biden has vowed to veto it. In an interview on Fox News Sunday, Johnson was asked to comment on the backlash. Republicans are trying to be good stewards of the taxpayers' resources and want to offset spending rather than print more or borrow money to support our international allies. We want to pay for it. What a concept. We're trying to change how Washington works. Fox News' Shannon Breen noted that Rep. Brendan Boyle has argued Johnson is prioritizing deficient busting tax giveaways for the wealthy over helping Israel. So now, in response, Johnson said, listen, we're trying to take care of our priorities, and we will. We know that these other important measures are right there on the table, and we're working through it hour by hour, day by day, and we're going to meet those obligations, but we have to do these things in the proper order. Scalise also funded a plan to cut IRS funding in the Republican-led Israel aid bill. In an interview, we passed a bill that addressed 2 problems that our Defense Department talks about. One, we need to get Israel to do, we need to get aid to Israel, and we do. But when our generals come and testify before committees like Armed Services, they say our debt is our biggest national threat, not other countries like China and Russia. They say it's our debt. We address both in this bill. So I think this is a weird thing, but I kind of wanted to bring it up because we're talking about it. So they're saying, hey, listen, we're going to send money, but the way we're going to send money is by defunding and sending money to the IRS and taking some of that money and sending it to Israel, which, listen, I don't think we should be aiding other companies for war right now. And like you mentioned, we got to be taking care of what we're taking care of. However, if you're going to send money, you might as well take it from a budget that you're overspending on. So you don't, like, if you're overspending on marketing, and you're spending $100,000 in marketing, but you want to send $50,000 to your labor line.
So why don't we take 14 billion, and I mean this, and divide it up between Liberty City, one of the worst cities in Chicago, and one of the worst cities in Hartford, Connecticut, okay, and take 14 billion and see what we can do there. Like, as crazy, does that sound crazy to you?
No, I agree. I think it's because it's funding, and I could be wrong about this, is state run as opposed to the House and Senate being able to impose something over that.
Yeah, but all rules are just made up by different people. You know what I mean?
So listen, I know what you're saying. You're like, just break the rules. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Because rules are just made up by people. That's all they are, made up. So you just need one person with an idea and influence to change.
So are consequences, Jeff. They're also made up by people, right? So
I agree.
Consequences made up by, like, if you murder.
We clearly have no consequences for any of the people in Congress writing out bills and term limits and staying in there and doing. There's no consequences right now.
So for me, I think the right way to do this is figure out how to do it and how to do it within the law. For you, I think it's just you just want to break down the door and say, I don't give a shit. Let's just get it done. I think that's a great attitude of like, let's just get it done, I just don't think that's going to go very far. I think it's going to get
Yeah,
shot.
I mean, but the way Vivek even talks about like just laying off half the government, right? And doing it, and he talks about it the same way as I am. He's like, even in odd numbers for Social Security, that's how he's gonna fire people. Did you hear him say that?
I did see that. Yeah.
So I mean, which is crazy. There's no rules to that. And I feel it's that, but you gotta start somewhere. Like you gotta do something.
I agree. You do have to start somewhere, and you do have to do something. And it probably, I mean, I had this conversation with Sean the other day, and that is, there's a couple ways to look at things when it comes to people, and it comes to managing people and leading people. You can look at it as a business, you can look at numbers, or you can look at it as they're actual people and how to inspire and move those people. Neither way is right, neither way is wrong. I personally believe leadership and management is a dance between the two, meaning this. If I am an operator, all I'm going to be doing is looking at numbers. I'm going to be looking at how much my labor percentages are, how much my marketing budget is, how much my sales are coming in, and what does my profit look like? What does my turnover look like? And I'm going to be managing those numbers consistently. And then I'm going to make decisions based off those numbers. So if I'm spending too much in this, if I'm spending too much in that, then I'm going to cut this budget, and I don't give a shit what else is happening with inside the business. I'm just looking at numbers. And then what happens is that's what operators do. The executors, meaning the people who carry out the work every single day, they have a realistic picture of what's going on. They understand, they're the boots on the ground, and they say, hey, we need more people in this department because this department is lagging. But they don't see that. But the operators see that this department's lagging, but they can still get the work done. But what's happening is the people are overworked, the people are tired, and now they're quitting. So now our turnover is increasing and our training costs have increased. So what's happening is you're seeing your turnover is increasing, but you're also saying that your budget is going well on this department that's understaffed. And too many times the operators don't see what is going to happen to the people, don't see what's happening because they're not executing things. So what happens is we make a lot of snap decisions saying this should be done, but we're not talking to the people who the boots are on the ground and saying, okay, what do we need to do? Where is really the issue? What's happening? Where should we put the money? What's going on with the problem? It happens a lot in business, by the way. It's why a lot of great leaders leave, because there's a disconnect. There's always a disconnect between the operator and the executor because they're both not looking at the different worlds.
Yeah, which is one thing that Patrick Ben David does. He sells a 20K mastermind with an operator and a visionary, and he puts them together at $10,000 each for a ticket. So they work together.
Right. And I think, and the executor is not going to be always right, because the executor is not going to be, they're going to look at numbers and say, yeah, but that's not the issue because we need to get people doing this. My point in saying all this is, in order to get things done, people need to work together, because you're going to have one person going this way and one person going that way. I think right now we have a government where one person's going one way and one other person's going another way. And whatever they're seeing, whatever they're doing is just completely opposite, different visions, and they're not working together and they're not talking to each other. And they're just trying to push their agenda. And I think it's happening way more than it ever has in my lifetime. And at this point, I'm starting to get paranoid and think that maybe this is intentional. It's an intentional discourse that's happening in our government so that we don't get along.
Yeah, I literally think it's a fueled civil war. There's a whole way with George Soros or whoever you want to put the blame on, and they just keep fueling this so we divide. And as long as people can see that we're not that divided, okay? Like, and you try to stop getting so upset about stuff for everything, I think the world would be a lot better place. It's leading towards World War. It's leading towards Antichrist coming to power. It's leading towards it's the writing's on the wall for all that, right? So to extend it, you need people to listen and understand. That's really what it is, you know? and not be so emotionally charged. Part of our fault is that we're so emotionally charged about certain things, right? Because of how they feed everything, right? Whether it was Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and feeding it, this is the same thing. It's the same outrage culture. It's the same exact thing again and again. And I'm seeing it's like watching a movie and they keep playing out the same thing to do it, right? So I just won't get sucked in by it. I don't plan on doing that. Let's focus on what we can do for this. This is what makes me want to run for government. So I get so mad about it because I think it's a simple fix, although half the people are corrupt in there. So you got to kind of drain the swamp or you got to reflip it all, and there's some people that aren't, but and that's why I think Vivek is very refreshing in that, or Robert Kennedy Jr., both these guys as political leaders, because I think you do a lot of president, are actually these different takes on everything else than the common, where you're going into every day, the same, these stiff politicians who just write checks. And by the way, the Republican Party is all a mess anyway, too. They couldn't elect the Speaker of the House. The fact that they're all voting for that bill, and the one thing too, and listen, Vivek, I think he killed the last debate. I think he did a really good job. I didn't watch anything, but all his highlights were amazing. They put him winning last. I think they were so worried about him. He made Nikki Haley seem so unlikable. She called him scum. He does have some really good points and really good arguments. And he does do it. It's like, dude, really, did you really have to go after? I understood his point about his daughter, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But there was a point where it said
let's get into that right now because we wanted to talk about Vivek and him calling out the media. So let's get into that. And I think this is worth watching again, just because honestly, it was fantastic.
Are you gonna watch all 5 moments?
Not all 5, just
I think there's something going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It's a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Walker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. And ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go. Accountability, because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie.
This is exactly how we need the question is accountability. Listen, I was at Men's Fellowship not too long ago. They talked about men. To be a man, to be a leader of a man, you need to be meek. Okay. And meek is not weak, but meek is, understanding what God called. A is accountability and need it. Okay. And when he was holding them accountable, that's what we need. Nobody's been held accountable. That's why we have everything. To your point of, hey, rule and law, let's find a rule and law. You need to just ask people certain questions. He had a great point of Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and everything. I all of a sudden pictured them moderating that debate. All of a sudden, dude, I'm watching that more so, right? Oh it's just crazy. The fact that they had Democrats, the question they asked him is, why are you better than Trump? It was a trounce Trump thing. He doesn't even take the bait on that. He never has. He's never gone against Trump in any of his stuff. He's always pro-Trump, just saying, I'm Trump without the psychosis is what he's doing, right? He calls out the media on basically the thing. He says it was rigged. And then the fact that he calls out and then they say they're not going to give him another cent. Rhonda whatchamacallit, the Republican chair girl.
RNC chair. So I played that on purpose because I don't get ever tired of watching that, and the reasoning is because
I've been watching it. By the way, I don't know how he lost the debate. It's like on every meme on Instagram again, again, again. I play it every single time.
So I think this is what I think. Vivek did an amazing job bottom lining some things.
Go.
First is he said we become a party of losers. We need to start becoming a party of winners. He's correct.
I did something you would say, actually.
I agree. He called out the Republicans saying we lost in these amount of times, in these amount of years, and the person who's responsible for this needs to resign. There's no accountability. So he said, literally, I will yield my time over to you if you want to come up here and resign. So he started off with that first, right? Calling out weak leadership. Second, he also called out the media saying, hey, what you're doing, and right now, this is insane. We wouldn't have, you have Democrats hosting a Republican primary. And then he says, you think, yes, that is us. You would think that.
Nice job.
Thank you. You would think that they wouldn't, Democrats wouldn't have Greg Gutfield hosting a debate, and he calls out the hypocrisy. So second, he calls out the hypocrisy, and then third, he calls out the media and says, listen, you pushed fake stories, you need accountability. Go ahead now. Like, what's your answer? And very bold to do. Because he did this, if you Google his name, this is what shows up when you Google Vivek's name or Vivek. So you got his Wikipedia, you got his story. Ron McDonald responds to Vivek. Ramaswamy escalates McDaniel feud ahead of tougher debate. You're just scum. You're just scum. Party of losers. RNC hits back at Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy ditching Ohio headquarters. Presidential candidates visit New Hampshire. Let's see. Approaching business and politics is AP News. Where are we at? Soros Fellowships for New Americans. Anti-woke. Let's go to news. Where are we at for news? Presidential candidates, New Hampshire to speak with voters ahead of primary date. Vivek. Ramaswamy IDs for U.S. candidate board wall labeled extreme. I'm South Asian. I've already met 1,000 Vivek Ramaswamys. Don't tell my godmothers they're dead, but I love a little brown on brown violence. Naturally, so Ramaswamy now selling merch after Haley's scum comments. Vivek Ramaswamy's approach in business and politics is the same confidence, no matter the scenario. Vivek's campaign says he didn't call Zelensky a Nazi. So basically, when you're looking up, this is actually more neutral than it was the day after. The day after, all the news stories were just trashing Vivek.
Why PBD said it, man. We got to create our own media. Part of the reason why I acquired a podcast press company was for this reason, to combat it. Right? This is just YouTube and it's SEO. That's all that is. It's all SEO. You have more people in SEO and bad, so we need more good people in SEO, right? We need Patrick and David doing that. We need to, but yeah, they're gonna trash them. By the way, the guy here, I think I sent it to you. Gary Cardone, you know Gary Cardone? He said, finally, someone who doesn't need to kneel to the establishment. And then Vivek tweeted out accurate, right? So it's just on Twitter. It's just 24 minutes ago, you know?
Yeah, so a lot of people are liking the passion that Vivek has. Right now, I believe he is the front runner. Let's check that real quick. Who's the front runner in the GOP?
No, I checked it. They all have Nikki Haley up there. Like, it's so corrupt. Like I never knew how they had Trump leading the polls anyway, if they didn't want Trump in it. Like, if it's all the liberal media, why do you even say Trump leads? Just make it up that Trump doesn't lead, you know, make everybody. Like, I never got that. Like, if you're gonna fake it, fake the polls too. Like, you already fake enough news, you know?
Well, yeah, I know. So right now, this is what we had updated on November 7th. Let me share this real quick. This is according to Morning Consult. So tracking the 2024 Republican primary, Trump leads field by 48 points. Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Tim Scott, and then someone else. So Trump maintains a massive primary lead, and they're saying Ron DeSantis is second, Nikki Haley is third, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Dude, how would it be if Trump and Vivek debated? Like, I feel like they wouldn't say anything bad against each other. Like, everybody was it? Did you hear Patrick McDavid ask Vivek if he'd be his Trump's vice president?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't do plan B.
Yeah, well, he changed his answer. Originally, they were asking him that, and he said, I don't see myself as a number 2 guy. And now he's saying, just looking at this plan, I don't see a plan B.
Right. Yeah. Listen, he would. At the end of the day, me and you both know, we all know, he would. He loves Trump. He beat Trump twice.
I know that.
I would be Trump's VP. I would take, I 100% would be Vice President Trump. I think that would be an amazing ride. Okay. So
I know that. I know Vivek probably would. And you know that Vivek probably would, because we have a good gut instinct. But I don't know if the audience knows why. Why do you think Vivek would go and take a presidential vice president role?
Or why do I think he would? Because he understands the best for America. And I think he thinks he could have influence on Trump. He voted for Trump twice. Okay. He's admitted that. He was a libertarian first. He voted for Trump. He's had a lot of definitely thing. He woke up listen, everybody was trying to get on his past. And I get that. There's some stuff you can always talk about Soros and all that. But at the end of the day, he's no different than someone else who was building a business, was a little caught up, watching some politics, didn't really know what to believe in, didn't vote, just like everybody his generation saw Trump. Trump was refreshing to everything. Was like, I like this guy, voted for him twice. And now he knows, like, part of what he would say is not the psychosis that comes with Trump, which Trump, guilty as his own, brings up the psychosis with him the way he does it, right? Entertaining, but wrong, and he brings up trouble. So I believe Vivek would go in. I think it would be challenging for him because they both are those 2 A-type personalities. But I believe he could kind of possibly have a positive influence on Trump. Who knows? I don't think anybody really controls Trump anyway. I thought it was actually smart for Trump to have Pence as it because Pence was so low-key and he's such a dominant guy. I think Trump Tucker, which they floated, is that's such a drama card right there, And Tucker said he hated Trump before, and I think Tucker has a little bit of an arrogance too. I think but Tucker's dude, he's like a Rush Limbaugh. You know what I mean? He's like this energetic guy who's gonna push stuff.
I would watch some more interviews where Tucker is interviewed. He is interviewed by Theo Vaughn. It's a great interview.
Oh, I did watch some of it. I did see some of that.
You see that there's another side to Tucker Carlson.
When he's not being so opinionated, ticked off, and he's just being likable. I get it. But you know how he gets and he was right. His pieces on Fox, he'd be like, these are heresy. He gets so very what's the word?
I think he would get it in his terms would be righteous anger, but it could also come across as hyperbole, almost come on, calm down a little bit.
Right, a little, but he's right though. I mean, America is, you pick up these crazy things that were going on, and yeah, it'd be a righteous anger, but it'd be kind of like that. Vivek, I think, does it. Vivek is the only knock on Vivek that people say is he's such a great communicator and he talks so fast that they say he's like a snake oil salesman, right? A really good thing, which I'm
so fast. And some people don't trust that when people talk fast.
Right, I know, which is why
they start to go, what am I missing?
But that's how he's born, though. He's an entrepreneur. I connect a lot with Vivek.
Right. And I
said to Dad, if you ran for president, it'd be like Trump. If I ran for president, it'd be like Vivek. Right. And I watch Vivek, a lot of things he's doing. And by the way, he's running a way better campaign than I can run. I have no reason talking for president. My goal is to sell this consulting business. And in 2028, if God has it, sorry, Jasenia, I will punch it. I'll run for president just like Vivek on my own money if I have to.
So Vivek speaks way better than you or I.
Oh, I totally agree.
impeccable with his communication. Every single time I listen to him, I go, I want to adopt a little bit of that.
Dude, he doesn't miss a trick. It's almost on like tape communication.
Yeah. Very, very, very good similarities. Yeah, that's a very good point.
They can just spot on a dime and not say anything wrong. It's hilarious. Where like Trump just gets ticked off, so he'll lose his cool. You know what I'm saying? Where Vivek doesn't really lose his cool. He like keeps everything in check, and he kind of just navigates and everything. And he's going on some lot of tough. The dude's earned so much respect from me.
I want to get back to why do you and I know that Vivek would actually take vice president for Trump? I'm going to break it down into three things that I've seen consistently from Vivek, and this is why I go, okay, this is why. Number one, he doesn't criticize Trump. Doesn't do it. He never says anything bad about Trump. Doesn't criticize him. Number one. So he's priming himself. Hey, Trump, I'm not criticizing. Number two, he lifts Trump up. He says, Trump did this. Trump did that. The best president I've seen since we've done this. He talks very well of him. Number three, he has the same speaking points as Trump. He just communicates them clearer and more professionally. So
and I actually think he's brought some new things to the table, like dismantling the government and things I think Trump would be on board for too. He's brought him down in a very calculated way.
So it's the things that Trump have said, but he like Trump's like, we need to drain the swamp. And that's what Trump has said, but Vivek is showing how to do it, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Same.
Dude, every single person. Patrick was asking the question because everybody's like, "Is it going to be Trump Vivek?" That's the thing. And I think. Listen, you got. Trump's got to love being him. He can do whatever he wants. Go wherever they can arrest him as many times. He's ahead, and he gets to pick whoever he wants as president. And it's his world. And everybody's playing in it. As long as they don't. Dude, they assassinate Trump, it's all over. Then we get civil war. People go nuts. The whole thing, which I believe is like I almost like fear that because that's like the next thing. And then, dude, another thing I like Vivek said, he said, hey, stop the farce that Joe Biden's writing. If it's Newsom, whatever, bring it up. He actually like called out the whole thing. You're not going to run that guy. Like, dude, he said what it was on everybody's mind, you know?
All right, let's do one more story and then let's wrap this up. Because I know you and I are both getting
both tired. Sorry.
So we've got Bank of America. You vote on it. Which one you want to do? Bank of America, JP Morgan having customers complaining they're not receiving deposits, DeSantis Bootgate wearing lifts, and then
Bootgate. I just want to do. I only want to do fun stories, man.
All right, sounds good. So
like it's so heavy, you know, Israel Palestine heavy, man. Like there's no way to really.
So bring me. So let's see. So do you know how Bootgate started?
I do not. It's TikTok, right?
So yes, and how it kind of blew up is, whoa, you shared your screen, huh? So let me share my screen real quick. Do you know who Ashley St. Clair is?
No. Yes, I know the name, but not like that well.
Okay. So let me share my screen.
But you know, I'm tired when I take pre-workout and I'm still. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this is Ashley St. Clair's Twitter. She works for the Babylon Bee. You know who the Babylon Bee is, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
This is her driving with Vivek.
Oh wow.
So, let's see.
Here, go up to that poll. That's him losing last in the poll.
Hold on 1 second. Let's keep scrolling.
All right, I don't follow her on Twitter. I'm gonna follow her right now. I like the Babylon Bee because Elon Musk likes the Babylon Bee. Like Elon Musk, did you hear he said he'd pick Elon Musk as his vice president?
Yeah. So.
Oh wow, dude, you heard they might get Vivek and RFK at the town hall, right?
I mean, I think. Okay. So originally what she did was when the Bootgate thing came out, she started posting like TikTok videos of her wearing boots saying, hey, look, I'm DeSantis like this, right? And it blew up all over Twitter. It blew up all over X. Where is it? Yeah, so this is what she did. POV, you're Ron DeSantis getting ready to leave the house. And she puts on these big boots, right? So that was it. That's all she did.
Okay. POV, you're Ron DeSantis getting ready to go out.
And she just put on boots.
Okay. POV, you're
So she does all this, and then she posts a picture. It kind of goes like viral on X, and now it goes off crazy. Why is she even doing this? Because originally Bill Maher made a comment about his boots, and then it went off on TikTok. So
do wear cowboy boots with a suit.
That's right.
So I'm not going to fly. Okay, that's just a crazy thing.
We're proud of it.
But there were no cowboys in Florida, Ron.
Oh, yeah, you should try Florida. We're one of the top cattle states in America. Once
Really?
you go from the beach, you go to the interior of Florida, nothing but cattle ranches.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Because I'm wearing orthopedic shoes.
There you go.
So they talked about that, and then this video came viral. They were looking at the boots, and they were saying, okay, where is does he have lifts going on in here? Basically.
I don't like that they're going to let this guy debate Newsom, but they won't let Vivek debate somebody. You see that?
They won't let, I'm sorry, say that again?
They'll let him debate Newsom, but they won't let Vivek debate, I forget who it was. Chris Christie. Chris Christie wanted to do a separate debate with Vivek after, and Vivek was down for it because he shows up to anything. And the RNC was like, nope, you're not going to debate him. But they're letting Ron DeSantis, that's in November, debate Gavin Newsom. Like, we're not going to take Trump because we don't like Trump as a Republican. So it's going to be, they're basically picking who it's going to be. It's going to be DeSantis versus Newsom.
Yeah, which is odd to me that why DeSantis is doing all this.
And you heard him on Patrick and David say, well, it's for marketing. It's marketing, right?
Yeah, and our boy Vivek.
Nikki Haley, who stepped down from her time at the UN. Bankrupt or in debt was her family. Then she becomes a military contractor. She joins the board of Boeing and otherwise, and is now a multimillionaire. So I think that that's wrong when Republicans do it or Democrats do it. That's the choice we face. Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got two of them on stage
Mr.
tonight.
Ramaswamy, thank you. Senator Scott.
You know what's funny is we've got two of them on stage tonight, and he's talking about DeSantis as well, because DeSantis, the whole thing is him wearing lifts. Doesn't even matter, by the way, a president's height.
Yeah.
It does.
Sorry, someone texted me that I told him to do a reality board. Dude, I'm helping out so many people for like free. It's insane.
So stop doing it for free.
I need someone to like help me. There's Corinne's. I'm getting on a call. Everybody can come on Monday at 5:30. We're doing Monday mentorship, taking all the people in, and I'm mentoring them. Larry's there. He invested in the 100K formula course. This isn't a promotion, but it's hard for me not to.
So Jeff, for people who are taking your time and they're not spending money, I think it's just expectation setting. And that's one of the hardest things to do when you're starting to set an expectation, because you're going to turn people off. And when you set expectations, you also have to stand behind your expectations. So for instance, if I'm going to fire somebody because they steal, and I say, guys, listen, if anybody steals something, they're stealing alcohol, if they're stealing liquor, we are firing that person. The challenge is my best employee all of a sudden starts stealing. Now I just told everybody I got to fire him.
Yeah, dude. I'm aware. I have expectations. It's just people have my number. I want to ship my number back to Ken and stuff, and I just respond. Or the VA business, my virtual assistant business, is basically a charity. If you sourced it, the expectation is now everybody's gonna have to pay. Either they're gonna pay $1 to us and they're gonna pay us, or it's gonna be $199 a month for support, because we basically coach the employee to all these. We train them. We basically train the employees within the business. Doing a lot of work, by the way, for our clients.
I know you are, and I see you doing a lot of work, and sometimes I think you're undervalued your packages. I think you could, like, the amount of work that you do for people and the amount of,
because I won't let them fail. If someone's gonna pay me $50K, we're not filing, we're over delivering. You know what I mean? All the way through.
I know that, and you work so hard for these people, and I don't think that's the one thing that most people don't get when they go. I don't think anybody gets when they go with another consulting company or whatever it is. They don't have somebody working around the clock for them. It's just like, I'm doing whatever it is.
I was doing it today, and then we started the 556 deal, and we brought on this one girl, and we did it overtime doing her speaker kit, and and I'm gonna help be a stage integrator and over deliver and help her get booked on a stage, hopefully.
So real quick before we end, because I think I agree that we got to end. So kind of summary of what's going on right now in America. So I think where we're at is, because we've got December and then we've got a new year coming, and we got a new election coming.
Dude, I always ask everybody, so on my sales call, hey, it's November 12th, 2024. Where do you see yourself in May? And all of a sudden, thank God, it's the election. I was watching Dan Fleischman, and I don't even know if we're getting to election. I would take a bet that we don't even get to election. We're going to shut it down because of war. They're not going to win. Trump will win. And if Trump is still alive, they will not let us have an election because they can't bring it again. Like, we're not getting to it. Like, everything, like, the world's going crazy. They're doing whatever we're funding money. There's no way we're getting to the election. If we are, or a fair election, we didn't even have a fair election last time. It's literally insanity. So with that said, yeah, it's accountability, by the way. It's exactly what Vivek said. We have to hold people accountable about how we do the ballots, how we do the voting, everything, you know?
I learned something when I was struggling with anxiety, and that was, if you have a fear, name your fear. Because what happens is you let the fear overtake you. So if your anxiety is, oh my God, I am afraid of elevators, you need to name your fear as something like, this is my fear of elevators. You name your fear so you solidify it. Why do you think you do that?
Why do you name your fears? I don't know. I don't know.
The reason why you do that is when you name your fear, it is now singled out. It's not a huge monster. It's just one monster. And now you need to tackle that monster. Instead of it being so overcoming to the point where it paralyzes you, you say, all right, this is the one thing that I'm dealing with right now. It singles it out and you can go after it. I think that's what we need to do when we say the words, they're not going to let this happen. Because who's they? Who is they? We need
George
to start.
George Soros.
George Soros. The Democratic Party. The Republican Party. We need to start singling out who these people are so we know who our enemies are. Because if we know who our enemies are, we can defeat them. If we don't know, if we're in the dark and we're just saying, oh my God, they're going to come after us, it's a huge monster. But if we know it's George Soros, if we know it's the Democratic Party, if it's the Republican Party, we know our enemies. And just like how Patrick Bet-David says, choose your enemies wisely. If we can name them, we know what we're going after, as opposed to just kind of like summarizing and say, hey, they're not going to let the election happen. Because we need to figure out the media is also one of them. The media is corrupt. And who's controlling
all the media? I think majority of the media is. Look, this is open society.
Democracies are examples of the open society, whereas totalitarian dictatorships, theocracy, and autocratic monarchies are examples of the closed society. Humanitarianism, equality, and political freedom are fundamental characteristics of an open society. It's a nice way of putting it.
Anyway, listen, I don't know. And then who's the other people? I hate when people ever say something, you're like, oh, protect this person. It's insane. Like, what made me not want to run for president is that they just kill people who speak of the truth eventually, you know?
Yeah, I think what happens is anybody who starts to speak the truth, they want to shut down and eradicate. There was a good
Andrew Tate said it. He said, for what did he say? First they what?
First they cancel you, second they jail you, and then third they kill you. So I would say this. I would say if you want to know what the truth is, whenever you see someone vehemently insisting that it's not the truth, know that whatever the opposite of they're saying is actually what's going on. So when the extreme censorship comes out and they're trying to shut everything up, whatever they're trying to censor is true.
Like, dude, I can't even tell what's true with this Israel Palestine thing because people are so adamant on both sides. Oh my God, they're human shields. Oh my God, this is this. And
children who died. Israel didn't kill any children. I mean, Hamas didn't kill any children, and all Israel's doing is killing children. They're the ones doing everything wrong. And it's like, well, you don't like you almost how you said the AI thing. Like, I've seen some videos, and they're horrible videos. Horrible.
Dude, Mike Maccabi, I know, was in Tel Aviv, the guy who's the AI guy. And he told me it was really bad there, and it was that, and they're watching bombs go over and everything. So stuff's happening. Okay, I know because someone was actually there. I believe, dude, here's the thing. Why did even that whole terrorist thing happen to outrage stuff? It happened to justify a war. It was allowed to happen, just like 9/11 was allowed to happen, just like these things are allowed to happen. They're allowed to happen to build in wars. And I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh, this isn't like somehow, some way, there's certain things like that. I think the George Floyd videotape, okay, I think there's a lot of probably really bad murders that happen like that. I think was allowed to put out just incite exactly this, right? It's so calculated. You can't just sit here and be like, oh my goodness, like it's calculated. That's why I refuse to get so caught up in it and then look at the bigger picture and say, okay, why are we doing this? Where are we going? Who wants to really separate America? Because America is still America, by the way. People are still fighting to be here. We still have freedom. We still have capitalism. We're still alive, okay? But one thing that Vivek said, which is why I started talking about running for president, and I could even do it, is I'm afraid by the time 2030 is, we will not have America left at this rate. So that's why he's running, you know?
Yeah. Let's end it with a couple of things. I'll end it with one interesting thing and another interesting thing.
Jake Paul's fighting a boxer.
That good for Jake Paul, but to me it just seems not entertaining at all. All right, so let's check this one. At a climate protest in Amsterdam, Greta Thunberg began giving a speech about Palestine, causing another climate protester to interrupt her.
Listening. The people in power have not been listening.
I come here for a climate demonstration, not a political hearing.
Insanity, dude. The funny thing is like she comes out, she starts talking about Palestine because I came here for climate presentation, not politics. Right? It's like this weird like infighting, but it's crazy. So
what's Dana White saying here?
Yeah, let's listen to Dana White. He gets pissed.
Or a specific cross promotion. Right. Is there an opportunity fights for you to cross promote with the PFL for, say, a Jones Ngannou fight? And is there anything specifically stopping that from happening?
Is there any way to stop it from happening?
Is there anything that's stopping that specific fight or a specific cross promotion with the PFL from happening?
No, I'm not interested in that. We tried to make that fight. They didn't want to do it. And it's done. He doesn't fight here anymore. I'm not interested.
So no fights with the PFL just in general?
Should I?
Possibilities.
We got 1, 2, and 3. They can't sell a fucking gate. Oh, talk to me.
Dana,
it's a stupid question, but go ahead. Talk to me. Why would I do that? I tried to make the fight here. They didn't want to do it, but I should co-promote with the you know, with like a Bellator or a PFL. Why should I do that? Talk to me.
I guess it's just, I guess, a partnership with ESPN or anything like that, just in general, with just co-promoting an MMA to make, I guess, MMA fans happy, just for everyone to be involved with each other.
What? Because of ESPN?
As a partnership, yes.
You win the dumb question of the night. Congratulations, sir. What did you want to say? Did you want to chime? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, so we should talk about that later on, dude. It's funny because why does PFL have a contract with ESPN too?
No. So what the guy is trying to say is that
I know what he's saying. They didn't make the fight. He wanted to make the fight with Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou wanted to go get boxing money. He did. Francis Ngannou looks like a genius now. Went in, actually beat the guy. It looks like he got to recovered from the whole thing. So good for Ngannou. Dana White was actually nice about him lasting 10 rounds. Like, wow, he did better. Like, he was actually nice. I like Dana, by the way. I always like Dana. I know how Dana is. Dana's got to look out for the UFC. That's what nobody gets, right? He always has to look at UFC. And the fighters need the UFC. At the end of the day, Jake Paul can say whatever and be a little troll and say he doesn't pay him enough and everything, but the UFC is the one that holds rank. The only person who probably can get away with checking him is Jake Paul because he has FU money. He can say whatever he wants, which is a pain to it. Jake Paul, without the UFC, wouldn't even be a fighter. He had to use the UFC to get the fights to do where he's at, okay? So I could totally see why. Yeah, go ahead.
Only one thing that Jake Paul kind of like it gets, and Jake Paul is very good at trolling, but what kind of deflates his arguments is UFC is just consistently right now they're at the top. They're selling out everything. And
do you think Dylan Dennis should get a fight in the UFC?
I think UFC is too professional for Dylan Dennis.
I know. He's like, it makes sense that he would go to PFL or something. Like he's like
something like that. Yeah. I just think at this point UFC doesn't play games.
Dylan Dennis isn't even like taken seriously. Like I'm sure he only can be better than what he was in boxing, right?
I would hope so. I'd imagine so. But
it's so crazy. I watched Dylan Dennis in all those interviews, and I get him. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get him too. Yeah, and I get why people don't like him. I get why he's hated. But I don't expect him.
He's kind of almost likable in a way because he's such a everybody knows a guy like Dylan Dennis who's just like a whole like. And at the end of the day,
he's an anti-hero. He's an
anti-hero, and I don't want him to be alone. I know that sounds so weird. I know he told everything thing, but he's just one of those kids who, like, there was a point when Logan Paul, which Logan doesn't do himself any favors, made fun of him about his dad, and he got really mad. So, yeah, say something about my dad. And he almost cried. It reminded me of Cam. Not really, but like he was like, see, go ahead, say something about my dad. He got really mad, right? And it broke my heart for him because this kid's a kid who did it. And then the way he's like, Connor's not even in your back and everything. And his coolest thing is that he has Connor who likes him. Like, that's like so cool to him. And then he's got to be like, yeah, Connor's not even here for me. It's very sad to be Dylan Dennis. That's the point I am.
Yo, did you see Connor like come out on Twitter today? I almost don't even want to bring this up, but let's bring it up.
Well, we have to, man, with everything in here. Is he saying, yeah, I guess he's not saying free Palestine.
Listen, he might have deleted it because Connor does that.
Connor's a little crazy loose screws anyway.
Yeah.
There's certain people I say I like, but I say I like do I really like him? Andrew Tate, Conor McGregor, Trump, these guys kind of get me like, they might not say everything I like, you know?
So he deleted his comments, but basically, so what happened
He
was
did. Yeah, you sent screenshots of me.
Usman Nurmagomedov, who is Khabib's cousin or not brother, but he's related to Khabib. He got suspended in Bellator for 6 months for using steroids. So Conor just went nuts on all the Dagestanis and was like not only just going nuts, but saying things that like he was pretending himself to be. What am I doing? Steroids are haram. The shame of this is not funny.
What is when something's haram? What does that mean?
Haram means like evil and not morally.
Because I've watched Andrew Tate say it. So.
Yeah, it's haram.
The way he does it, it's funny. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. It's hysterical. That's another thing. I get like a lot of people get pissed off at what Tate says, and I get why he's saying it to get a rise out of people. I'm like, he's just joking. But so Conor, again, like I get why Conor says shit. Conor goes, steroids are haram. The shame of Allah hangs over the Nurmagomedov clan. Cheaters. Abdulmanap is doing tumbles in his grave. So, do you know how Abdulmanap is?
No.
That's Khabib's father who died.
Oh, wow.
So he says, steroids are haram. The shame of Allah hangs over. Sorry. And then he says, the shame of Allah hangs over the Nurmagomedov clan. Cheaters. Abdulmanap is doing tumbles in his grave. And then he posted, Inshallah, God is great. Dude, Conor is
Speaking of which, did you see Khabib just came out and said that they offered him 40 million to return? And
yeah.
You could tell he said he turned it down, and he was like, man, that's tough to turn down.
So this is the thing. Habib's coming out and saying a lot of stuff recently that I'm like, this goes against your persona that you've touted for a while, meaning that like he's very humble. Now he's saying like, oh, they offered me all this money.
Yeah, listen, I don't like Khabib. I know why people like him. I get listen, Conor made him, by the way. He was already the thing. Conor made him. He became this villain guy, and he had this self-righteous way he was cool about him.
That's why listen, Khabib's very talented. That's the one thing that I'm like, doesn't everybody see that this guy is extremely self-righteous and thinks he's better than everybody else? And because
I promised my dad I'll never fight, so I will turn down 40 million because I'm a man of my word.
Right. It's like, dude, the reason you're saying that is to get significance out of it. So when somebody says I'm making $40 million, it's the same amount of significance of you saying that you turned it down. It's just you getting that significance and feeling of importance. But listen, Khabib's a great fighter, and people want to
tweeted out happy. Wow, that's an Indian holiday, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because Vivek is Indian.
See, he is. All right, let's wrap this one up. When do you want to do a next show next?
I don't know, soon. So it doesn't. Because I feel like we have so many stories we don't get to. So I think twice a week is good because there is many, and we should do one that's fun with more fun stories and one that's maybe more serious. You know.
Yeah, let's plan for Tuesday night. Oh no, wait, Tuesday night you've got your
No, I switched it. I have it at 6 now.
Interesting. All right, so let's maybe do Tuesday night because I'm gonna be taking care of the little guy, but I'll be putting him in bed, kind of like our first episode.
I'm gonna go watch Patrick and David and Bradley. Dude, that's a 2-hour interview. By the way, I connected with it so well. I cannot wait to read that book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. That's all I do is make up fake enemies in my brain. You know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think, and that's what Patrick was talking about doing. And I think like that'll help me a lot. Like, so I got to make up an enemy that's saying you won't do free work, you don't value your time, or something like that, and it'll make me really start valuing my
This
time.
first chapter, which is summarized on Amazon, is basically talks the difference between emotion and logic and how people make their decisions. And I thought of you because it's good. So I was reading it, and they put like
The book's out already.
no, it's not, but like a portion of the first chapter is on Amazon that you can read. So I started to read it. And I was like, wow, this is good. So I'll probably get the audio version, and I'll probably
Dude,
get
it was so cool because Patrick Ben David, Bradley's asking questions about himself, and it's in the book. And he's like, well, you're gonna leave me that copy there. And dude, it was a great way to market and sell the book because Patrick was like, well, it's in the book. Like, I'm not gonna tell you. Remind me of something you would do. You know what I mean? It was just that interview is really, I haven't even finished it. It's like so good. I don't want to finish it. By the way, did you watch it's almost better, but this one was pretty good. Did you watch the Gary Cardone one, Patrick Ben David?
I was watching some of it. It's a good interview. Gary's asked good questions.
Yeah, but there's a point when Gary asks him, well, what would you say about me? And and Patrick always says, you want me to consult you? Like, because Patrick's whole thing is, his biggest thing is his consulting company, right? That's what he gets paid for. And I know that feeling too, because people will call me all the time. Hey, what do you think? There was a guy I sold out 3 events. By the way, Richie Dolan, do you know who Richie Dolan is, or Jim Quick?
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to like ego tote anything. I sold out Angela's event, which is insane. The event went good. I mean, she sold it out too, but we all did that together. Then I turned around and do it for George's passive income event, which is a good guy. Guy's looking to buy a yacht and do the thing too. Sell at his event. Not too many people. People bought tickets because of me to support me, these millionaires. But the tickets, we gave them a discount for $200. Meanwhile, my sales guy's paying full price, which is just the thing. And then they don't even show up. It's like, Jeff, we just bought it for you. I don't get any of that stuff. You might as well just give me $200, you know? And then I have one of the guys show up and say, hey man, I just spent $5,000 to build my personal brand with this other guy who's one of those flash guys. It's cool. He's from Driven. I get it. And no hate, no shade on everything. But it kind of irks me. And then he's telling me what he's gonna do with his podcast and stuff. He said, I'm giving away all my secrets. I go, those aren't secrets. That's what you do. People ask me that question for free. Like he was just, it was making me mad. But nice guy though. Nothing against him. And then what was the other thing? Oh, and then Jim Quick, Richie Dolan hits me up. Jim Quick, the Limitless guy, this book, which is a great book, does an event. I keep inviting people to it. A kid flies in from my inner circle, David Reed's Fast, from Texas to go to the event. And like a day, I pull up all the stuff. Richie Dolan's like, hey, I'll settle with you next week. So I think he's going to pay me on that. I basically did 3 events, which is insane. So anyway, I'm doing my first event. I talked to Dan Fleischman. He said I won't get Hermosi. By the way, choose your at my event. He said Hermosi doesn't do events, and I said, "Oh, can I get that in writing to Dan Fleischman?" And then Dan goes, "I love Dan because he goes, I'm not. I hope you get him. I'm just saying he doesn't do them anymore, right?" Like Dan's like, "Don't fight me," because you know how Dan is, right? And you know how I am.
Dan, by the way, docile guy that you can choose, not an enemy, but like as something.
Dude, but Dan totally gets how I am. He knows. One thing I love about Dan, he accepts like all entrepreneurs. Knows how Grant is. Knows who these guys are. He's gonna do his little tribe. I Dan's one I think Dan's cool. But anyway, so I do a video. We do a picture with Dan, and I'll show the video next time because it's actually pretty cool. And but Dan's like, no, I hope you get it. Like, I'm not betting against you. And I need it. I'm like, I'm going to think away, right? I'm trying to create an enemy right here, right? And then I told him Gary Vee. And just so Dan goes, Gary Vee's expensive, which he is. And then I go to, but I know how we're going to do it. I'm going to release it there. Tickets are going to go on sale this week, 8,500. We're going to target coaches and consultants. It's going to be changed live coaches and consultants. That's what we're going to do.
Sounds great. I'm on board. All right. Nice little plug there at the end. Join masteringmanagement.com. Subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube. If you like this, if you get value out of it, please, we're trying to build something from something small. PBD talked about this. He had his valuetainment channel and he started PBD podcast because there was something that was completely different. He's going to talk about politics. So he's like, I'm completely doing this. So we're only having a couple people watch, right? That's where we're at right now. So I want to get us to the point we're on the 1,000 podcast. We have over a couple million subscribers, and we're just going to refine this. Right now, this is the 3rd episode. It's not as smooth as I would like, but we're going to refine it. It's going to get smooth. We're going to get guests. It's going to be good. We're going to actually have good takes on things that
I want to get a better camera. I'm going to put my phone as my camera. I'll get a mic. I'll do it all the right way.
Listen, I don't even care about cameras. I don't care about backdrops. What I care about is quality content for the consumer. So I want to make sure that when we show up to these shows, we're delivering quality content to the person who likes to tune in because they want to hear your take, Jeff, and they want to hear my take. What are they saying about this? And they trust us. I think people will know that they can trust us to be authentic.
Well, the audio does mean something. When the audio sounds good on a podcast, it's easier to listen to,
True. So that's what I want. I want the goal of 1,000 podcasts. We're over 2 million subscribers, and we're just.
Well, I have a YouTube SEO company. I have a press and podcast company. So I have a lot of supporting troops to help us on this model.
We'll get it done. All right. Everybody have a great night. Let's have a great week this week. Let's close some deals because tomorrow's Monday, and let's stay positive throughout it all. So everybody have a great week. We love you all.